The sun had barely risen over Sparta when the news arrived, carried by a lone messenger, breathless and dust-covered. Word had come that Xerxes, the mighty king of Persia, was amassing an army unlike any seen before, a host that stretched as far as the eye could see, poised to swallow Greece. The whispers of an impending invasion hung in the air like a dark cloud, bringing with it the weight of inevitability and fear that even the bravest Spartans felt deep in their bones. In the Spartan council chamber, the tension was palpable, the room filled with the most powerful warriors of the city-state. The elders debated, their faces stern, as the flickering light of the oil lamps reflected off the polished bronze of their helmets. Leonidas, king of Sparta, rose to speak, his voice calm but resolute, cutting through the murmurs of doubt. He knew that this was not just a battle for territory, but for the survival of their very way of life. Leonidas selected his warriors with care, choosing only those with sons left behind to carry on their legacy. The cool morning breeze swept through the city as the chosen 300 gathered, each warrior knowing that this march was likely a journey from which they would not return. Their families watched in solemn silence, the pride in their hearts mixed with the ache of impending loss. As Leonidas addressed his men, Sparta would not bow to any foreign king. The march to Thermopylae began at dawn, the soldiers moving in perfect formation, their crimson cloaks billowing in the wind. The sun rose higher, beating down on their armor, yet they moved with unwavering resolve, their sandals crunching against the dry earth. The road was long, and the weight of their shields grew heavier, but their discipline never faltered, each step bringing them closer to destiny. Arriving at the narrow pass of Thermopylae, Leonidas looked upon the terrain that would be both their shield and their tomb. Towering cliffs flanked one side, and the sea lapped against the other. There was no retreat, only victory or death. The cool evening air brought a momentary respite, and as the campfires crackled, Leonidas knew that here they would make their stand. As night fell, the Spartans prepared for battle, sharpening their weapons and reinforcing their armor by the dim glow of their fires. The air was thick with anticipation, a heavy silence settling over the camp as each man reflected on what awaited them. Leonidas moved among his men, offering words of encouragement, his presence a steadying force that brought calm to the impending storm. The next morning, the horizon darkened with the silhouettes of the Persian army, their banners fluttering in the distance like a wave of locusts descending on the land. Xerxes' forces seemed endless, stretching as far as the eye could see, the earth trembling beneath their numbers. The Spartans, outnumbered and surrounded, held their ground, the cool mountain air giving way to the heat of battle that was about to ignite. Before the first clash of swords, a messenger from Xerxes approached the Spartan camp, his voice carrying an offer: surrender, and they would be spared. Leonidas listened, his face unreadable, before dismissing the messenger with a simple word: Molon Labe, come and take them. The soldiers around him tightened their grips on their spears, their hearts steeled for what was to come. The Persians attacked at dawn, a clash of metal ringing out as waves of soldiers charged the narrow pass. The Spartans held firm, their shields locked together, forcing the enemy into the narrow bottleneck where their numbers counted for nothing. The sun rose higher, sweat pouring down their faces, but they fought with precision and unity, their training and discipline turning them into an unbreakable wall. As the day wore on, Xerxes sent in his elite force, the Immortals, hoping to break the Spartan line. The black-clad warriors advanced with deadly intent, but Leonidas and his men met them head-on, their spears thrusting with lethal accuracy. The battle raged under the relentless sun, each Spartan fighting as if possessed by Ares himself, their courage unyielding even as exhaustion threatened to overtake them. As night fell, a Greek traitor named Ephialtes approached the Persian camp, offering Xerxes a way around the pass. The news reached Leonidas by dawn, carried by scouts who had seen the enemy forces moving through the hills. The realization of their impending encirclement settled over the camp like a shroud, but there was no fear, only resolve. Leonidas gathered his men, the cool morning air filled with the distant sound of marching feet. As the Persians closed in, he spoke of honor, of sacrifice, and of the legacy they would leave behind, a story that would echo through history. The Spartans cheered, their voices rising above the clamor of the approaching enemy, ready to face their fate with unwavering courage. As the Persians closed in from both sides, the Spartans fought with the ferocity of cornered lions. Dust filled the air, the cries of the dying echoing off the cliffs as the two forces clashed in brutal combat. Leonidas fought at the front, his sword striking down enemies with every swing, his presence a beacon of hope for his men. In the midst of the chaos, Leonidas fell, his body pierced by Persian spears. The sight of their king's death only fueled the Spartans' rage, their attacks becoming even more ferocious as they fought to protect his body. The ground ran red with blood, the sun high overhead, casting its unyielding light on the battlefield. One by one, the Spartans fell, their shields splintered, their swords broken, but their spirits unbroken. They fought until they could no longer stand, their bodies forming a wall around their fallen king. The Persians, awed by their courage, advanced cautiously, wary of the men who refused to die easily. When the dust finally settled, the pass was littered with the bodies of the fallen, Spartan and Persian alike. Xerxes stood over the battlefield, his victory hollow in the face of such fierce resistance. The narrow pass of Thermopylae, once a path to conquest, had become a graveyard, a testament to the cost of freedom. News of the Spartans' sacrifice spread quickly, carried by those who had witnessed their final stand. Across Greece, the story of Leonidas and his 300 inspired hope, uniting the city-states against the common enemy. The courage displayed at Thermopylae became a rallying cry, a reminder that freedom was worth any price. In the months that followed, the Greek city-states put aside their rivalries, united by the memory of Thermopylae. The armies of Athens, Corinth, and Sparta gathered, their ranks filled with men ready to defend their homeland. The cool breeze of autumn swept across the land as the Greek forces prepared for the decisive battles that lay ahead. The spirit of the 300 lived on in every Greek soldier who took up arms against Persia. They marched with the knowledge that their cause was just, that their sacrifice would not be in vain. The memory of Leonidas, standing tall against an impossible enemy, gave them strength as they faced the might of the Persian Empire. Years later, the tale of Leonidas and his men was still told, their heroism inspiring future generations. The narrow pass of Thermopylae became a symbol of courage, of defiance in the face of overwhelming odds. The story of the 300 Spartans echoed through history, a testament to the power of unity, sacrifice, and the unbreakable will of those who fight for freedom. Our journey through time comes to an end for today. We embark on new adventures every week. If you relish the experience, please like and subscribe.